Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Abigail if you're new, and I was born with a rare birth defect that affects my size and development. And I share what my life is like. I am tube fed. I can have a handful of things by mouth, so in some of my videos you'll see that I'll have like candy or like ice cream, those type of things. I can have things that melt like that, but I am, other than that, tube fed. I have a J tube that goes to my intestines, and then I have a G tube to vent. My G tube is only for venting. If you don't know what that means, it basically means getting sick out of my tube instead of by mouth. So, like if I have a piece of candy or something and makes me feel sick, I vent out of my G tube. And the reason I have a J tube is because I have gastroparesis and a hernia. Gastroparesis is partially paralyzed stomach from a previous surgery I had that went wrong. So, today is Wednesday. It doesn't really feel like a Wednesday though because we're not having a regular church tonight. We have what's called family camp. If you've been here for a while, you know that in June we have what's called youth camp. That's at the same place. It's a church camp where you spend it's 5 days, 4 nights, and it's just like church, and they have morning classes, and it's kind of like Sunday school class type thing, but for different ages. Well, in July, they have what's called family camp, which is similar, but it doesn't have a age limit. So youth camp is from like the age of 8 until the age of 24. They have like I think it's 3 different camps that's different ages in the month of June. And then July is family camp, and like I said, it's similar, but no age limit. So it is, because it's in the summertime and it's very, very hot, I have decided not to go. If you stay the week, it costs, but you can just go to the service and it's free. Other than their afterburner that costs, but I decided not to go because it is very, very hot, and I just think that with all my health stuff, just wouldn't be a good idea. So I'm also tube fed, and my formula can go bad in the heat. So I have decided to stay here. But the good news is that they do stream the service online. So I'm going to watch it from home instead of being there. And plus there's like hundreds of people that go. So I think that it would probably be a little bit overwhelming. So I have been in the past, but not in like past probably couple of years in person. But later I'll probably watch that service. Last night's service lasted until like, I think it was about 9:30 or so at night, and it starts at 7, so it usually lasts a couple of hours. But trying to think of what else. Today I've had 2 leaks in my feeding tube so far. So whenever you have a feeding tube, if you don't know, it can leak through like your clothes, and I've had 2 leaks so far. It is normal with a feeding tube, but I wanted to show y'all. See, I am wet again from where my feeding tube is, so I'll have to change it again. They have disposable tubey pads, which is what I'm using right now, and then they have washable tubey pads. I have both, but right now I'm using the disposable because if I'm leaking a lot and I use the other, it will just leak through it and won't really like soak it up. So, yeah, that's something that has been that's just one thing that you like. Huh? Do you want to be in it or no? No? Okay. That's just one thing that's can be kind of annoying with having a feeding tube. The second thing that's kind of annoying with having a feeding tube is whenever your pump beeps and you have to figure out why. Like, usually, like, you're out of formula, or the cord can get twisted, like, in your backpack, and for my particular pump, I have the Infinity pump, and because I'm on continuous feeds, it literally goes everywhere with me, so if it beeps in public, it's like I've like hurry and like figure out the problem, but it can be kind of difficult because feels like people are looking at you and you're like trying to figure out the problem and then trying to figure out the problem while people are looking. It's like, thankfully it hasn't happened very often, but it has happened before. But like really specific moments such as like where you're really needing to like be respectful of the situation, such as church, it can be really difficult. Thankfully we sit towards the back at our church, so if my pump does go off, I can just hurry and leave, go to the back of the church, fix it, and then come back. But that can be embarrassing when your pump beeps and people like look to see like what the sound is, or it can beep because there's like air in the bag, which I mean obviously you don't want to feed yourself air instead of the formula, but like it can be kind of picky at times. I think okay, so I'm gonna tell you an experience I had at church one time since I got my feeding tube. So like I said, I'm on a full-time feed, so my pump goes everywhere with me. Now my pump is in my backpack if it's not on the charger. At nighttime I put it on the charger to charge while I sleep. I'm also on it at night too. And then like when I'm at church and stuff, it's in my backpack and I'm wearing it. And there was this one time at church where we had it was like I think they call it like a combined service where like different people of our religion come together, the people that live in the same state as we do, and we have like one big church service, and depending on when different churches host it, but at this particular time our church hosted it, which meant all these people came to our church. And it happened to be, I don't remember if it was altar call or what, but I had to mess with my pump for some reason. So I go to the back to like be away from everyone. And this is what happened. So whenever it's altar call time, which is where everybody goes to the front and prays, if I'm going to go to the front to pray, I turn my pump off and unhook long enough to go up there and pray, and then after church I come back and hook back up again. So I'm maybe off of it 15 minutes or so. And I was going to the back to put my pump in the chair so that I could hook back up, and this little boy, probably, I would say he's probably 7 years old, comes up to me and asks what I was doing, and I was like, I'm hooking up my feeding tube pump. And he's like, well, what's that? And I told him that my stomach doesn't work like it should, and that I need a feeding tube to give me the nutrition I need because I can't eat by mouth because my stomach doesn't work right. And he looks at me, he looks at my pump, and he was like, okay. And he just like goes back to the church. I'm like, I was like really nervous that this was gonna be like a really, really deep discussion because I never know how like little kids are gonna take it. And I really tried to explain it as simple as possible for little kids because, one, I don't want them to be scared of, because a lot of little kids probably have never seen a feeding tube, but also I want their parents to be able to say what they want to about it, that kind of thing. So a lot of times I just tell little kids that my stomach doesn't work the way it should and that I need a feeding tube to help me get the calories that I need. So that's how I handled that situation. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching today. Be sure to give the video a big thumbs up, subscribe down below, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.